Hello, Elder Drunken Homies. I am Austin.
And I'm Josh.
And we have our friend Steven here. And this is the Drunk Tank.
Woohoo! Woo!
Yeah.
I have in Arizona, so it counts.
This is also Arizona.
Yes. Thanks for having me. Hello.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank
you for coming.
We brought you on
welcome.
because this is the off-color Landfall deck, and that's kind of how our channels met. Is an off-color Landfall. So
That is very true.
it's time to bring in the expert.
Yeah.
Plus, you've
Thank
been playing mono white lands for like basically as long as me now. So
I think that was what, 2019, 2018. I can't remember when I actually emailed you. It was
like
before
2019. I made the deck in
pre-pandemic.
2018, but it wasn't really a Landfall deck. It was like a Mana Dorks deck, and then like as we were talking, it kind of formed into a Lands Matter deck.
Yeah, so for context, I emailed y'all about your Gideon Manlands video, which you can link in the comments if you want to. Because I was building Tomic Manlands because, one, representation is important, and two, I was like, I want to build Landfall in an off-color strategy because everybody's got green Landfall. Or, like, Jund Landfall.
Exactly.
That deck was garbage.
That's just...
But
it's not your fault. It's just Tomic
a beautiful, beautiful Landfall deck later on down the road.
White got blessed with a lot of good Landfall stuff since then.
Yeah, I don't think there are a lot of very viable Landfall options up until recently for White. Sadly, is like I feel like Jerry wasn't even a Landfall deck. It was like a deck that used lands and also had Planeswalkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think.
Yeah.
I think to like categorize the archetype, it's like Landfall or Manlands. They're two separate things, and there are decks that you can build around either concept. But like for instance, my first draft that I emailed you was like 50-50 of both of those concepts, and it was too scatterbrained. But we'll get there.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about a bunch of different options for Landfall that are not in green. See, look at this card. It's disgusting. Do you really want to play this card every single game? That's gotta be boring. So we're gonna talk about some other things that you can do besides like having green in your Landfall deck that are still very Lands Matter, still very fun, and still very powerful. It's just you're not doing the traditional like, I'm gonna put like 1/3 of my library into play over the course of the next 3 turns. I'm going to play one of the 10 Landfall conditions that make people with underpowered decks go...
I'm sick and tired of seeing Tatiova at the table.
And all those stupid beetles. Get them out of here.
Oh my god, the Scoot Swarm. The Scoot Swarm, no!
Like, they're fun cards, but like, we don't need a billion.
This is what we're talking about when we say green is egregious.
Yeah, there's too many.
This card. I love this card, and I love its predecessor.
Green is easy mode. Green is like... It's like... Wait, what? What is its predecessor?
Scoop Mob.
Scoop Mob?
Scoop Mob just gets really, really big with +1/+1 counters. This thing just goes egregiously wide.
I mean, it's been so long I forgot that Scoop Mob existed, so
Scoop
that
Mob's
tells you
awesome.
something.
I won so many drafts with Scoop Mob. It became my like mascot for so long. I love that card.
Yeah. Well,
but the Landfalls... It's so good, but it's so egregious.
Green Landfall's fun, but like you gotta branch out. That wasn't a green.
I think Green Landfall is a good place to start because you need to understand that one, land manipulation is very hard to interact with, and that was my first interaction with it in the Magic Tapping Authority's play group was we had one specific person start bringing in a lot of Landfall strategy, and we were like, oh no, we can't do anything about this, and then everybody was like, wait a second. We should build this because we can't do anything about this.
You should definitely play, if you haven't played Landfall before, start with Green Landfall so you can feel the power, and then relinquish Green Landfall so that you can enjoy it.
Yes. Like, I love playing Green Landfall, but I like Green Landfall when paired with another color. Like, I do a lot of green-red shenanigans, or like Jund. I use green as a backbone, but I like to play more with the other colors. In fact, it was the mono-white lands decks that inspired me to do the mono-red land deck, which I started with Morog.
I still have a mono-green lands deck, so... I can't talk too much shit because it's very fun. It's very fun.
Anathusa?
Yeah.
But Anathusa's weird.
It's a literal,
Yes!
it's a lands matter mono green deck. It puts a bunch of fucking lands into play, turns them into creatures, does things with them.
But that's the thing, I will happily accept a weird mono green landfall like Anathusa. Like, if you sit down with a commander I've never heard of and you're like, it's mono green landfall, and I'm like, show me how, because I'm intrigued.
Yeah. This card just screams, I can do something, but I don't know what.
That's awesome. It's like a mono blue high tide storm deck, except it's in
green.
It's in green.
It's a color shifted lands matter from blue.
Yeah.
High tide is a lands deck. Let it be known. Yeah. So yeah, you made a really good point of that earlier with the distinction between like landfall, lands matter, and man lands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like green kind of does all three, which is why it's very, drab. It's the passe, if you will, of landfall decks. So when you go into other colors, you got to think hard about what you're going for because you don't have a lot of options.
Right.
Like, Morog, it's landfall for extra combat steps and burn. Then we did a Godo deck today that looks to just use equipment to pull lands out of the deck instead of just like the normal, I cast Boundless Realms for 10.
I think it's like, to me, the lands matter part, I think, can go under either column of the man lands or the landfall, because there's just certain lands that are versatile enough to fit into a mono shell. Like, I think about Thespian Stage, I think about Vesuva, I think about these things that can become other things.
Yes.
Your Reliquary Towers, like those kinds of like weird techy, like to use it like my Yu-Gi-Oh vocabulary, like a weird piece of tech to add in there, right? That's lands matter to me, and that can be in either man lands or landfall. But yeah,
no, 100%. I think the utility lands definitely
they make or break
like the archetype. It's like a landfall that can just be on a bunch of basics. I mean, especially if you're on green, you can just put a bunch of basics into play with green sorceries.
Yeah.
You just reminded us that we forgot to put Thespian Stage in all of the
every
decks
single
that we
one
built for this thing. So
we didn't forget Nykthos, but we forgot the one that can be a second Nykthos.
You know what? We're not gonna put them in the decks because you guys are gonna comment and tell us to.
Techland.
It's so good. Thespian Stage, Vesuva.
This is why we brought you on.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right.
I say that because I just put Thespian Stage into my first Simic deck that I'm building, because Twitter helped me brainstorm a bunch of Simic ideas that it's the one color pairing I don't have. So I was like,
that makes sense.
Who's the commander?
I'm gonna do Morit clones for Simic. Hermit Druids, Volrath, Sultai Volrath. I am obsessed with this deck. He has been tweeting about it nonstop, and I was like, I don't want to copy the entire thing, but I am interested in the idea of like the whole deck is just clones. So like I'm gonna try and Rube Goldberg machine a win out of your cards that you're playing.
Okay.
I was like, this, but Simic.
I like that.
So we should go back to the non-green cards without green
Simic
in there.
Hey, Muldrotha Lands is fun. I cannot lie.
We know it's fun.
But that's what we gotta.
It's not about what's fun. It's about the principle.
It's about making a point.
Yeah.
No, honestly, like it is fun, but like this is also really fun. I feel like a lot of people don't know that you can even do this, and you can do this pretty easily with every single color combination, including colorless. So we're gonna.
Yeah, the colorless is
Yeah. We'll start with white though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You two are the experts on mono white.
Yeah.
Like I remember like I sparked the idea in your brain one day. I remember the look on your face when you realized the interaction of a Maria Shepherd, and I just regretted every day since then.
Yeah, no, it was kind of your fault. This all started because I had a Crovax deck, the mono white Crovax, and it was just white good stuff, and Maria Shepherd was just in there. and Austin like said like what are you playing, like White Landfall or something like that. He made like some comment because I kept on returning my Sun Titan and doing things with Sun Titan and a fetch land and a Myriad Shepherd, just getting back big value things from my graveyard, like big creatures like Zatalpa and shit. And I was like, I don't know, I could be playing White Landfall. So it took me a lot of brewing to find a commander that didn't suck, and actually it took until they printed Jeru.
Yep.
For the archetype to actually find a commander, but like.
Well, and that's also that's a thing for you, Josh, as a player. Is like I think between Jeru fetching Gideon, and then what's that blue-white to fairy. Your commander basically is just there to fetch the exact piece out of the 99. Like that's an archetype that I associate specifically to sometimes the decks that you build. But like mono white started with that Tomic idea of I want to do the enchantment that gives my lands indestructible, and then Tomic makes my lands hexproof, and I want indestructible hexproof man lands. That was the idea. Turns out that is an extremely mana-intensive concept to be able to animate lands almost every turn. But that is that same sort of thing of like, if I do this, that's weird. Like when I figured out that Zuran Orb, like sacking my lands to a Zuran Orb to be under the total land count of another player to trigger Mono White's ability to gather more lands.
I got that tech from you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird. Like, it's so... And my brain loves counterintuitive strategies like that, where it's like, yes, I am actively trying to have less lands than you so that I can have more lands later. It's such a weird idea, but it's where Mono White has to live, which then also lets you... To me, it makes really weird big plays. Like, the play where you can sack all your lands to Zuran Orb, gain 20 to 30 life, and then recur all of them.
Yeah, the second breakfast strategy is insane.
Yeah, it's my favorite part about the mono white stuff is you can just sacrifice all your lands to something like that, and then use like Faith's Reward or like Second Sunrise to like just return it, which is great. And like it's also funny because you can Armageddon and do it too if you want to be really mean. Like neat.
I remember I kind of forced a lot of my friend group into playing from behind like this because I had a big land destruction kick back in the day, which is its own archetype. Okay, I still have a land destruction kick. I cannot lie. But like playing from behind is an interesting strategy because I played a lot of mono red land destruction. I was never ahead on lands, so I just made sure everyone was back where I was. And that's its own like weird land based archetype in and of itself because it's one that nobody really likes but is very, very effective.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you're the reason that I even run Faith's Reward as a card in my mono white good stuff deck. Because like
really?
I'm my own worst enemy. I swear it.
This guy really Austin, if you're always mana fucked, why don't you run more lands? And he's like, how about I run Keldon Firebombers instead? It's like
still do. It almost made it into the iteration of the mono red deck because it's just so brutal.
Nice.
Like, yeah, this was one of my favorite cards, everybody. But you put it in a deck that doesn't really need a lot of lands to function, and everyone's none the way.
Yeah, but it's. Yeah, that's like the mono white lands like keys. Like you sacrifice all your lands and like mono white can get them back. And even if like you can't get them back that turn, you also like have access like Sun Titan and like other crazy stuff.
Planar Birth, man. Planar Birth is dirt cheap. Yeah. Like so easy. Sack all my basics. I'll get them back later.
All right, let's give everyone like a list of some of our like top commanders for white for this archetype because we've touched on a couple of them already. But like, what is like your tops?
Well, I think everyone's converging on Benny right now. I think he's it's like so many landfall strategies incidentally make tokens.
True.
Yeah, but there's like a lot of other good ones. Like you mentioned Tomic. He's like, I feel like Tomic's a little bit of a trap Because like no one ever actually wants to destroy your lands anyway, even when they're creatures. They always say they're gonna, but unless they have like a pestilence or something, it usually doesn't happen.
Tomek is like almost he's like the Walmart version of what I want out of a mono white Lance commander. Like you look at him and you're like, this but better would be the perfect mono white Lance commander, but it's just not there.
Maybe the archetype
real off.
I wish he tutored for Sword of the Animist or something. If I could have Tomek and Sword of the Animist every game, then Tomek would be a pretty good mono white lands commander.
What if that was just his ability?
No, I like the other ability too. I just want like he's like perfect for that card because he's got flying.
Maybe the next time we see him, he'll be.
It either has to tutor for a thing, or it has to care about lands, or even what mono white does now. Like if you look at the recent printings of like Invoke Justice, Sudden Salvation, it returns a permanent, and that's kind of fine if somehow the commander involved returning or interacting with permanents from the yard. I would take that too.
Yeah, or like Jailbreak.
Jailbreak is a great example.
Yeah, like having a jailbreak on an ETB would be sick for something like
Return
that.
target permanent
That's
card
a great
in the
landfall
opponent's
card.
graveyard to the battlefield under their control when that. Yeah, that's the key word for mono white seems to be the word permanent, because a lot of stuff it has the restriction of like maybe a mana cost or like
or just
type.
non-land permanent. There's a lot of non-land permanent shenanigans. It's like that's
But,
not
like,
what I want.
The word permanent is so powerful.
Yeah, there's also this guy. Like Banks on our Discord, one of the admins has this guy as a lands commander. Or at least used to, just because like you get a lot of card advantage. And now actually, honestly, he took it apart. But I just realized the new initiative has search your library for a basic land, put into your hand.
Oh,
so it's actually even better with.
That's an interesting archetype. Okay.
Yeah, because like dungeons are pretty good, and they're in all colors.
And there's
We're
a bunch
talking about that for black stuff, maybe.
Oh.
Remember? Yeah.
Acerric?
Yeah. We already talked about Mangara, and then the last one is
Mangara.
I like Oswald.
I say that as the person who still runs Mangara, super guilty. Like, if you don't know what commander to run, just slap Mangara in there.
Yeah,
He's
got so much value.
Like,
it says draw a card. That's literally all you need.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, that's the only reason we're on Benny. Like, honestly, it's like a fair argument that Mangara triggers more often than Benny. Like,
yeah,
like 2 spells per turn. I think that happens more often than like I'm frequently on full up on cards in handed Benny, but like I think it's meta dependent.
Well, and also bigger butt and lifelink is not to scoff at. Like,
True.
Especially when your landfall triggers are pumping or putting +1/+1 counters on your creatures, Mangara actually gets like really spicy. It's like he's an 8/10 lifelinker, or like he's a 10/12 lifelinker.
That's
okay.
true.
That swing
Dangerous.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the other one that I played only like 5 games in this deck, but it was fun. It was Myojin the Looming Dawn, and you put it into your hand from the command zone with like I forget the name of the land.
Beacon.
Yeah, thank you. Command Beacon, and then you fucking have a bunch of lands, and you have a bunch of permanents, and then you go off. So that's it. That's the whole thing.
I throw shade at Josh for doing this, but it's like because I had Myojin in the 99 and I cut it because it was still 2 mana intensive, and Josh is over here like, put it in the zone.
Yeah, this was a fun deck. Okay, it was a fun
I don't
deck.
doubt it, Josh.
I mean, you never have to look for it if it's in the zone.
That's true.
You just gotta, and getting the command beacon isn't that hard.
No, the command beacon's super easy because that's also part of the. Oswald is the other direction.
Yes,
for this.
I was going to
Yes.
mention him.
Because getting to the command beacon is just part of the artifact package, right?
You get
like,
the artifact tutor chains that are so easy in white.
You
You have like 10 cards that can all find each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's
it's all about expedition map, baby.
It is,
Expedition
and that's
map.
something to just mention with every
And
color.
Inventor's Fair. Inventor's Fair is the other one.
Yep.
Those are the two. You just like go back and forth between the two. So that's white.
Yeah.
What's the next?
Red. We're not doing the Wooburg order. We're doing the Elder Drunken order.
Yeah.
We're just doing whatever we want. We like
Order.
best.
Yeah.
The order of the colors that interested us the most is what we're doing.
Let me bring up the boy. I want to talk about
Oh, God, I couldn't spell him earlier.
Morog. I love this dude. He is a bruiser. That clause of each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it has attacked this turn. I love extra combat step decks, and I love doing it in ways that are unconventional.
Yeah.
So Morog is the most unconventional extra combat steps I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The one weird thing about him is that you can't get the lands during combat. You can only use lands that you get during your main phases to activate his ability. And that's one of the weirder things you have to like reckon with, is that you're getting an extra main phase so you can do the land stuff again, but things like Sword of the Animus, Hearth and Home, those are good for getting you up to Morog, and using other landfall triggers. But if you're going for the extra combats, it's really hard to you have to go for From the Ashes.
Yeah.
Which is a favorite card of mine because it's basically Scape Shift in red.
I love the timing restriction on Morag because it makes interesting plays in deck building, right? Like I can't just willy-nilly landfall as I want to. I have to do it at a certain point in time, and also that Morag doesn't have to attack, so he can just stand there and landfall trigger everybody else, and that's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's cool because Morag is he's very what's the word? He's very much the poster boy for all of the mono red landfall creatures, and that he's just got a really fucking good landfall ability, and you don't even need to combo with it. You just do it 3 times a turn, and that's good enough. You're gonna win anyway. It's sick.
It's amazing.
You cast From the Ashes with Morog in play, you win.
It's over.
It's over. You just win. It's not a combo. It is a combo, but it's not infinite. It's just good.
Yeah.
It's just real good, and that's true with all of so many. Red just has the highest card quality of landfall creatures besides green.
Yeah,
well, no, green has a bunch of garbage landfall creatures
because there's so many of them. It can do whatever it wants.
Garbage landfall creatures. Green's
Well,
got what is it? Landfall, make a treasure.
There's a lot of great landfall creatures in green, like Avengers Zendikar and stuff, but there's also a lot of really bad ones. Whereas there's so many insane red ones,
Geode Chaser or Geode Racer, the one that
Rager.
Rager.
Yeah, it's just so many just red ones that are oh shit.
The Lagak and the other one are Burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lagak, even the Lagak is really good. And
even one and getting things back, we were going through the decks again, and Underworld Breach is still
Underworld Breach is a landfall spell, guys.
Yeah.
You can Underworld Breach, and then Nahiri's Lithomancy, and then Underworld Breach, and then, yeah.
Oh, Nahiri's Lithomancy. That is a card that I want to mention. It's so good. It was one of the reasons I even decided...
God damn it.
One of the reasons I even decided to do Mono Red Landfall was Nahiri's Lithoforming. It's, because red doesn't get you ahead in lands, it just churns lands. You have cards like this, like Cleansing Wildfire, Geomancer's Gambit, that sacrifice your lands or destroy your lands and replace them. Mm-hmm. So you end up running the Harrow Scape Shift style archetype of landfall in red more so than anything.
It's also got who's the mono red creature that when it ETB sack a land but find 2 or whatever, but then you Alpine something.
Alpine Guide. No, when he enters, you get a mountain. When he dies, you sack a mountain. I really like that guy with Feldon, because you can just play the mountains from your graveyard with Crucible of Worlds, which Feldon can find a billion ways. Feldon is a mono red lands commander, kind of spicy with Alpine Guide and Solemn Simulacron and Burnished Heart.
World Gorger Dragon.
And World Gorger Dragon.
World Gorger Dragon.
World Gorger Dragon loops, baby. You can do mono red World Gorger Dragon loops. That was one of our first videos ever. You can do it really easily in Feldon or Jaretti. And that is, if you have a landfall outlet, game.
Yeah.
That's infinite mana, infinite landfall triggers, baby. The other really good landfall commander that we were talking about too, besides Feldon, is there's a lot of
Godos. Yeah,
there you go, that one.
Yeah, Godo.
He gets his Sword of the Animus was our first thought, and then we're like, wait, no.
It gets us all of them.
It gets you Sword of Hearth and Home,
Surveyor's
and then Hammer
Scope.
of Nazan.
Is it Surveyor Scope or like Adventurer's Telescope or whatever?
Explorer's thing.
Explorer's Scope.
Explorer's
Yeah,
Scope,
yeah. He gets you all the landfall things.
Yeah, that one.
This thing.
It's so good.
But like, you get Sword of Hearth and Home, and then you blink your Godo, and then you can
Stratascythe.
get like Sword of the Animus, Blackblade Reforged, Stratascythe.
Yeah.
Like,
But the thing about Stratascythe, the one that like that was what solidified us on Godo, was that Stratascythe is all lands
yeah, all lands
on the
right?
battlefield.
Yeah.
So you can run Magus of the Moon.
All right, there's a lot of Magus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can Magus of the Moon with Stratascythe.
Oh, that's so
And
good.
somebody's just done.
It's over.
Well, there's also the luxury of mono red as a landfall concept is that it also gets to focus around something like a Valakut too. Like that's the one other part of this we haven't talked about. Like there's an entire artifact spine that goes across Feldon to ready if you move into the equipment with Godo that like is easily translatable. But I think the beauty of what mono red gets and then later mono black is that you just get Valakut, which is an entire strategy in its own right.
Yep.
No, Mono Red's so good just because think about Valakut with Godo, where you're getting Sword of the Animus, Sword of Hearth and Home, and you're blinking a Solemn Simulacron.
Yep.
That's like up to 4 mountains a turn if you're just playing one. And
That's
then
4
every single
combats
one of
with
them
more.
does 3 damage on the Valakut. It'll hit your opponent for like 1 for each of whatever red burn each opponent for 1 for landfall spells you have, because there's a billion of those. And then like get like a billion extra combats, you make a bunch of eggs, like all the red landfall cards
Are just
slap.
fun. They're just
It's
so
a
good.
that's a lot. Like if you take the Valakut, take the Lagak, and take the what's the Valakut Exploration?
Yes.
This one.
You get to just look at your top 10 cards.
You draw cards, like, yeah, it's crazy.
And then doesn't it burn if you don't cast them?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't cast them, it burns them for how many you don't cast, which is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All right.
good.
You say less.
Is that work?
Like, actually, get rid of that
awesome?
card. It's hurting me. Kosi's Rager, yep.
This one's bad, but it's still good.
It's targeted remove. Oh,
It's
no,
target
it's play.
player,
Ah,
target player.
That was their first.
Wait,
that was Zendikar, like
what's the
OG
one that we-
Zendikar. Which, if you're looking for landfall,
I forgot
just
this
go
one.
to any Zendikar. Oh, I forgot about the
Obsidian
Fireheart.
Fireheart. This is a class. This one's not good, but it's so fun. I love you both. This used to be like our favorite card.
It was a menace to our playgroup.
Put a blaze counter on target land without a blaze counter on it for as long as that land has a blaze counter on it.
A blaze counter. GTFO.
Yeah, at the beginning of your upkeep deals 1 damage to you, and then you proliferate them and stuff. Yeah. It was real great.
That is a good point though, that this entire strategy is also based around a set. Like, that's the unfortunate part when I look at mono white landfall, is that like when will it catch up is only when another Zendikar set comes out, unless they try and do something like they did with like the Cemetery series and Crimson Vow Midnight Hunt,
New
where it's
Capenna
like it's
gave
not
it a lot.
landfall.
New Capenna
But-
gave it a lot.
And it's been dipping into that like equilibrium style of land ramp, which is really interesting because it facilitates the exact archetype of like, I'm gonna just destroy all the lands, play from behind, and like you get to catch up to keep up, if that
Right.
makes sense.
I mean, we have all of that. I'm saying it's the actual when a land enters, something happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what you're not going to get access to unless you go back to Zendikar, or they continue to reframe it like they did with the Cemetery series.
Yeah, this one's whenever you play a land, though, so it's not quite the same. Sadly.
It's not. I tried it, and I was like, it's
I like it.
fine. It reminded me of that meme where it's like, Mom, I want Landfall. Then it's like, we have Landfall at home, and it's this thing.
Yeah.
Facts.
True. Yeah, they like what the red landfall payoffs are way better than the white ones, except for Felidar Retreat.
And I just want to note this for every single one of these off-color ones. They care about their land type. So if you're like searching on Scryfall trying to build these deck archetypes, you can look for just type in plains and then restrict to white, and then you'll see all the cards that interact specifically with plains. Or like if you're looking in red, mountains matter. Like, I'm one of the best cards I like to talk about is Valakut. First off, Claws of Valakut, Koth of the Hammer.
Oh my god, yeah,
Yeah.
Koth is nuts.
He's a ritual who animates and untaps a mountain.
Hey, talk about catch-up mechanics. Red has catch-up mechanics too.
You were about to spell it like actual ketchup, weren't you? Mana Geyser.
Mana Geyser is a catch-up mechanic in red.
Yep.
That needs to be the deck name right there. Catch-up mechanics.
Oh, there you go. You can steal that.
That sounds like the red-white.
Twitter already named my deck Benny in the Steps. I gotta keep it.
That sounds like a
Yeah.
red-white one for me. Like, that would be just ketchup mechanics.
Benny in the Steps.
But yeah, red has a couple of things like Brass's Bounty is another one where lands matter.
Brass's
You can
Bounty,
get
yeah.
you can get artifact triggers for that. You get a butt ton of mana for that.
Skred. Mark plays Skred in his Zerzoth deck in our play
We
group.
forgot
and
about
it's awesome.
Spread.
Oh yeah, snow-covered synergies all across the
Right.
board.
Yeah.
I did a blue-black lands deck on stream once. It was snowlands because of that Commander Narfi.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's all snowlands matter.
Yeah, snowlands are good because you also, like, any deck that's on snowlands gets access to Sunstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you also have that rare 1% chance where somebody's running what's the mana doubler where you exile the land and it like lands of that type produce double. So most people will run that like, oh, I'm only running
Yeah,
snow
freaking name
basic,
of the
so
card.
I get the benefit that you don't. And it's like, haha.
Yeah.
I also have snow basics.
Someone tell us the name of the card in the comments.
There's that card
Yeah.
that makes you choose a land when it enters. That one, that you give the name and then that land specifically will tap for double, so you can do specifically snowlands. That's
There
what
you
you're
go.
talking? Yeah.
Next we
Yeah,
have
the
Mono
comments
Black.
can tell us what
We
that
should-
card is because we don't know.
We should move along. We're going,
Yeah.
we're going way over time as usual.
There's a
Mono
lot
Black!
to cover in this archetype.
Mono Black.
Mono
Yeah.
Black is fun.
Mono Black does.
It's
It's
mean.
probably like this. It's like the second most supported, honestly, because you have landfall
Yeah.
commanders in the command zone with Obnixilis.
Mm-hmm. And also you have just a lot of swamp synergies. It's not much of a landfall color because it doesn't actually like get lands often, but it can really support its lands. Like
Yes,
swamps.
This is more of a lands matter concept to me.
Yeah. The commander we actually looked at. Well, let's show him Obnixilis first because this guy's just rude.
It's
He's so
loading.
rude.
Scryfall's being slow right now. You gotta wait.
There
Yeah.
he is. This 5 mana 3/3 with landfall.
For now.
Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player lose 3 life. If you do, put 3 +1/+1 counters on Obnixilis the Fallen.
Why
The
wouldn't
amount
you?
of times I've been one-shot by this stupid villain wannabe.
Yeah, we have a friend in our play group who's very notorious for playing this deck. He doesn't have a list online, I asked him, but it's a nasty deck. You put this into play, and you put the 4 mana 2/2. What's it called? The one that says like whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, deal 2 damage to something, you gain 2 life.
Yeah, the Whisper Grim.
Yeah.
That
If
might-
it's a swamp,
the
it
deck
does a
up
thing.
somewhere.
It's this one.
It's in the creatures. Dread Presence.
Dread Presence.
Dread
yeah,
Presence.
Dread Presence.
Yeah.
Yes.
That card
Yes.
is insane in this archetype because it's one of the few landfall things that doesn't have specifically landfall. It
Yeah,
has
it's
swamp
nuts.
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card's insane.
But this is like, to me, mono black lands matter is like Urborg, Cabal Coffers, Nykthos, Crypt
Yep.
Gas, right?
Yep.
It's your
Yep.
mana doublers.
And it's consistent because black is the best tutor. You can get
Yes.
whatever you want whenever you want. There is nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
What I really like about black is also you can run like the best, like the black Sylvan Scrying.
You were.
Yeah, you can see everything I'm typing in
I love it.
incorrectly in this. Yeah, the black Sylvan Scrying here.
Yeah, that's. You can get whatever you want.
That it's Sylvan Scrying. You're playing Landfall.
But you
This
see,
is Sylvan Scrying.
the best thing about playing black is actually completely colorless. It's called Cormus Bell.
Oh yeah. Well, you can do this in any color.
Yeah,
But
you
like,
can do
black,
this with whatever you want.
Coincidentally, black has the best ways to kill all of your opponent's 1/1s when you make them all 1/1s with Cormus Bell and Oborg. Like like for black commanders, one of the ones we have like on our little outline here is K0ppK the Merciless.
K0ppK the Spiteful.
Oh, K0ppK the Spiteful, you're right.
K0ppK the Merciless is also a doable Rakdos Lands Matter commander, because he just wants to play big things, so you know. But this guy's just mean. Like...
Urborg, Cormus Bell, no more lands. Goodbye.
Congrats.
Start over.
And it's our lands too, but we decided to brew a deck today.
You can have a Falcon Wrath Noble on the battlefield, and that's your win con.
That's so rude. But we went with actually using the Haunted one background to make a deck using black, because it gives, when your commander becomes tapped, it gives all creatures that share a creature type with it Undying.
Yeah. So we paired it with
Maskwood Nexus and a bunch of man lands.
Yeah, so any of the background commanders that tap, right? If you make them, you like can equip them with like Rune Stalagmite.
Yep. Or you can play Conspiracy.
Or like any way to make them any creature type, then all your lands that are creatures through Urborg and Cormus Bell, or just because they're man lands, then gain Undying, and then you can tap them all for mana, and then sacrifice them to like many things would work to sacrifice them to, but this is the best one.
Many things.
God, I cannot type words and say other words at the same time.
This one's a good one. This one's a really
Rain
good
of
one.
Filth is just like so nuts. Each land you control could sacrifice this land, add black. So you tap them all for mana, sack them all for more mana. They come back with a +1/+1 counter, and then you use Retribution of the Ancients. If it loads. There you go.
There it is. Retribution of the Ancients.
Use one of your black, remove all the +1/+1 counters from your lands. Right? Kill your opponent's lands, because your opponent's lands are also creatures with the fucking Cormus Bell and Urborg. And then you can, if you have the way to tap your commander again, like you have a Thornbite Staff,
or Umbra Mantle.
Or Umbral Mantle, yeah. Like,
see,
you can,
this is the type of content I'm here for. This is why I emailed the two of you years ago.
This deck is awesome.
I never thought of this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you can Umbra Mantle, or you could use Sword of the Perrunes.
Oh, I forgot about Sword of the Perrunes.
Yeah. So, any of these guys, then untap your commander, then you could retap your commander, give your stuff Undying again, and then do it all over again. And then eventually, with Retribution of the Ancients, you'll be able to kill all your opponent's lands, and you'll have a bazillion landfall triggers with, like, the 4 good black landfall payoffs, and you'll be able to do a bunch of shit. Or they'll just scoop because they have no lands, and they'll be in total awe of your combo and deck building prowess and ability. Yeah, so that's
mono black.
Yeah, there's also Corlash, who's just like, if you just want to be like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do all that complicated combo shit. Me like Swamp. Swamp matter. Me like Swamp.
That's Corlash is like the dumbest down version of this.
He's got but
like
you can clone Corlash still, and use like Mirror Gallery and other things, and return the original Corlash to your hand, and then do the Grandeur thing still with him too. Like if you want to do some complicated combo shit, you
can always use Helm of the Host when in doubt.
If you want to break Grandeur, here's.
Yeah, you can just Helm of the Host him and then return the original one to your hand with Cloudstone Curio, or the land that returns your commander to your hand, Sanctum of Eternity.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can also use Cloudstone Curio to get more land drops,
so
I guess.
So you Helm of the Host or some other thing to clone Corlash, and then you Sanctum of Eternity to your hand, you can get 2 swamps. Big whoop! You know what you could also do? Just fucking beat people to death with Corlash and Nightmare. Imagine! Oh wow! Come on, game.
Wow!
Too many nightmares.
Oh, I mean, there's also Nightmare Incursion. There's a lot of nightmares.
This is your demonic tutor target, Corlash. Nightmare. It's flying swamps. You know, it's all you need.
Yep. Another spicy tech is for the deck that we made was Filth.
Oh yeah, Filth is sick.
Because Filth is like the anger cycle, the Valor, like all of them, where when it's in your graveyard, you control a swamp, it does a thing. This one gives all your stuff Swamp Walk. Because you know, yep.
Yeah.
And Haunted one doesn't just give Undying, it gives +2/+0.
Oh wait, we've read the best
so
part.
you can beat people down with your lands.
The best part of the deck, the thing.
Oh yes, the worst land, best land.
Yeah,
Tomb of Arami.
Yeah, Tomb of fucking...
Yes! We were just talking about this card before we actually started recording this episode. I was like, what the heck is this?
We finally found the deck for Tomb of Arami. Sacrifice all lands you control. Done. We're doing that anyway. 5/5 Black Demon. Sure. We didn't even need a payoff.
We didn't even need... We don't want the payoff.
We're just like, great, bonus. I don't know what I'm going to do with this demon, but thank you for sacrificing all my lands. They have Undying. They're back.
Undying lands.
Yeah, I definitely want to like build this Black Landfall deck and pay for it out and play it. Cause Austin came over like 3 hours before he was supposed to start recording, and an hour and a half of it was spent just geeking over this Landfall deck that we just like kind of haphazardly put together.
And it looks like it would function pretty well because there's a lot of cards in Black that give you an alternate cost for having a swamp.
It seems like it'd be pretty fun. Yeah, but that's Black.
Yeah,
you should,
that's Black.
I think out of everything on this list, you should build that deck. That's my takeaway.
Yeah. It's like a very like Josh and Austin special deck. Honestly, it might get its own video if we play it enough and we like it.
There you go.
Yeah, but then
that
so we
brings
have
us to blue.
Mono blue. Yeah.
Because we have like two more we want to really hit, and then we want to hit a little honorable mention for some multicolors.
Yeah. Min is you put lands to play, pretty obvious. She combos with the other really good obvious mono blue commander, Moloku. Like we all know that putting Mystic Sanctuary into play over and over again is good. Like we don't need to talk about it. It's a competitive strategy. That's why mono blue landfall is kind of boring, because it's like, yeah, but you could be playing that with Mystic Sanctuary, or you are doing that with Mystic Sanctuary, and either way, it's like, eh.
But the mono blue kind of builds itself to a degree.
Yeah, the mono blue commanders just enable it way too easily.
Because you just need a commander that gives you gas.
Yeah.
Like, if you have the draw card, you can consistently hit your lands. Like, usually 1 or 2 a turn is all you'll need. Yeah. Especially considering the entirety of the original Kamigawa set has an entire, like, creature type dedicated to just bouncing lands
to your head. Yeah.
Like, it builds itself because you don't need anything else. You can just...
It was so funny at the time when Moonfolk came out, because everybody was like, what a garbage mechanic. I don't want to, like, return lands to do things. And now fast forward to, like, 2022, and everybody's like, ah!
There's Patron
it's so
of the Moon.
powerful.
Yeah.
Patron of the Moon does really cool. So you put 2 lands in your hand to play tap. That's spicy.
That's the weirdest blue card I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some weird blue cards, but anything that ramps me purely in blue is weird. Cosima's another really awesome weird
purely
one.
in blue. Steven told us we forgot Cosima.
It's not even Cosima.
I like Cosima because its lands matter. It's your opponent's lands, right? Like that's the whole like point of it, is that it's not my lands. It's me trying to grab your stuff.
You're a pioneer, an explorer.
It's also
not even
like
it's not even a Cosima deck. It's the Omen Keel deck. Let's be real.
It's it really is actually the Omen Keel deck. Yeah.
I made a vehicle variant of like this deck, and it just ended up me wanting to play the Omen Keel, like just get lands anyway. So I'm probably gonna go back to it and like look it over again.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a spicy one.
There's Jalira. That's the other one we're talking about. Just because there's a lot of blue cards that care about lands, and none of them are legendary. And so you could just cycle through all of them in Jalira, or just pick one that you like a lot. And there's a lot of like island hate, or like island like pro island things like High Tide and things like that, and like also just like other things that like if opponents have islands, fuck them, that you can play in blue, and you can play this guy. And Stormtide Leviathan says all lands become islands, and so it's like Blood Moon, but instead of people hating you because they can't use their lands, they hate you because they can't use their creatures. Yeah.
Big fishy.
But like Stormtide Leviathan will always hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah. I think the only valuable landfall in mono blue is retreat to, was it Kazandu?
No, there's a lot of good
Oh.
landfall on mono blue.
Yeah, there's one that untaps your commander, but
Yes,
I was gonna
yeah.
look up Charix because we were talking about. I brought up like my crabs with pants deck. It's an archetype from a long time ago that needs a paper version. But Charix is his power and toughness switches based on Hedron crab.
Yeah, there's the crabs. There's retreat to Coral Helm.
Hedron
There's
crab's
Royal
just a good
Elemental, which
landfall.
steals
Coral
stuff.
Helm.
Tide Force
Yes.
Elemental.
This thing untaps or taps and untaps another creature.
Yep.
Retreat to
like-
Coral Helm is just a combo piece in its own right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so is Tide Force Elemental, and then yeah,
So, the blue deck has a lot of
And then-
really cool options.
there's the flying creatures that get beefier.
If you just want to go aggressive blue, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite are the crabs. I like my crabs. Can you search Charix? Because I think it's based on the number of this guy.
Yeah, it's based on number of islands.
Yeah, that's also blue. Fucking lands matter, baby.
And it was paired. Who did you say to pair it with,
Stormtide
Steven?
Leviathan.
Yeah, that pairs with Stormtide Lel. But it was
Oh, Tetsuko.
yes,
Tozawa.
Tetsuko. I think she'd be a really fun add to that. But like, there's some weird interactions in blue because there's also like a bunch of things that return things to hand based on the number of islands you control.
Mhm.
Like there's that. The entire Leviathan octopus serpent mechanic is built for this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's that foretell card.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. And this
Ah,
one,
yeah, Spectral Deluge.
there's a lot of things like Spectral Deluge, like
Both
one.
mono
Engulf the
blue and
Shore.
mono black are like, not only do I want to have islands or swamps, I want you to also have islands or swamps because I benefit
I mean,
from that.
we've gone so
Like-
far and we've just barely mentioned High Tide, so we should talk about High Tide. Double the amount of
Yeah,
money
High
you get
Tide
for
is in there
islands.
too.
This card is legendary in MTG. It's so old, and it's like one of the first. It's like one of the first really like lands matter archetypes.
It is literally not legendary, Austin. You are hurting me physically. Colorless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so- the last one to talk about is colorless. And yeah, Steven, you said this earlier before we started. It's the spine. It's the
Yeah.
literal spine of like all of the decks we've talked about today.
You can try and do colorless with like Hope of Geoper, or if you wanted to run an Eldrazi for sure. But like what you're really gonna do for colorless is you're gonna piece apart all the pieces, the artifacts of each color, and put them into a deck. Because like artifacts across any of these mono blue colors for landfall or lands matter are really just the spine of how this archetype works. So you can throw that into colorless for sure and like do it. I don't think it's like optimal by any means, but
You can do it. It
you know?
works.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
can
Fair
do
playable
it.
enough.
deck.
Yeah.
And
we have the list.
And you don't even have to commit
But
to
there-
like a commander that's super huge like an Eldrazi or super quick like Hope of Geoper. You can pick any artifact legendary creature you want on top. Like Karn Silver Golem would probably be a really dirty one, honestly.
There is one pretty nasty artifact combo that you can use in the colorless one. That's like good in the colorless one.
This card.
Eternity Vessel, with all the proliferate stuff. You can get it up, or you can just have more than 50 life, and then you have Aetherflux Reservoir.
And if you have anything that lets you free pay life like this
Yeah.
card,
And then
you
you
can every time it loops, every time like you get a land drop, you can reset your life total.
Yeah, Eternity Vessel is really sick. It's also good in black. Like if you want to pay all your life with a black spell like Necropotence or something like that. And then
That's
play
what
your
I
fetch
just
land,
put it
and then-
into my
Yeah.
Amanatu deck because I went off with a turn 4 Bolas Citadel and was like burning through my life total, and I got stuck on the like land, and I was like, well, that's my land for the turn, and then I was like, what if it's Eternity Vessel? And you just go boop, reset.
Eternity Vessel's
pull
sick.
pull the Eternity Vessel early with the Bolas Citadel, and then just see how far you could go.
That
Why
is
not?
that is dirty. I love that.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of really good colorless ones. Like Banks was running in his mono, and you can put these in any deck, which is nice. Like Banks is running like the Rings of Bright Hearth,
Mhm.
Deserted Temple, and
Yeah.
any land that taps for 4 or more. Because deserted temple.
That
will
combo
untap
goes
itself,
above me.
And another land when you copy it with rings, a bright hearth, wow, there's a lot of there you go.
Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
will
then
say
you
I
can make
just
infinite
did I just am testing the Myriad enchantment with Genju of the Fields in mono white. Because I really love the comedy of animating a planes and then swinging with it and giving it Myriad, and then I Myriad 2 copies of fucking planes.
Wait, that's hilarious.
Oh.
And then if they kill the planes, the Genju comes back to your hand. And you can just animate a new planes.
That's hilarious.
The opposite side of that spectrum is the Zendikons, because they return the land, not the enchantment.
This land has defender in white because they hate us.
Dang. It's a 2/6 wall though.
Oh
That's
yes,
sick.
The red one is awesome. It's a 4/2.
It's trample.
The black
Kill
one
it.
is weird.
33 ooze.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's 2 mana though.
Yeah. The green one is, of course, green. But the blue one, I think, gives flying. So, yeah,
It's only 1 mana too.
yeah.
That's
You get a
pretty
2/2 flyer for 1, and then it returns the land if it dies.
I like the red one because you definitely want it to die. So like I feel like they're gonna block the red one eventually. That's why I like the red one.
True.
Yeah.
And then other classics to mention would be like Seer's Sundial. That one's just like it's like baby's first landfall matters card because you can put it in any landfall deck, and it's good. It's good.
Yeah. It's mana intensive.
It gets the job done.
One extra card a turn is way better than no extra card
I'm
a turn.
soon gonna cut it from mono white.
That's so
Yeah,
sad.
I've already cut it from mine.
Yeah,
I would rather
first.
cut, like, instead of Seer Sundial, I would rather run a Landfall enchantment that makes a token with a Mentor of the Meek or a Welcoming Vampire than I would run a Seer Sundial.
Yeah, see, I'm about to cut Welcoming Vampire.
What?
Really?
Yeah, I just like draw too many cards now. I don't need it. It's great.
Oh my
I can't
gosh,
believe
I'm Josh. I draw too many cards. I just don't know what to do with my cards.
But here we are.
How many years did it take to get it to that?
Yeah.
Too many. But like, it's all Benny now. Benny draws me like 3 cards
does.
a turn cycle. It's great.
It's
What
absurd.
are you gonna do? Kill him? Like, spot remove Benny. He has Convoke. Fucking do it. He has Convoke, motherfucker.
Do you want to do honorable mentions of other decks?
Oh yeah, so we have
Yeah.
2 decks that are on our Discord that are also non-green landfall decks that we've been looking at like this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got blue, white to match.
Yeah, Blue White
Tameshi.
Tameshi, which you can find both these linked in the description. Blue White Tameshi from James, who's one of our mods. I thought he was gonna submit a Boros deck, but no, he submitted Blue White.
There's always this bubbling of Quintorius in your Discord of like, there's always this like, it kind of like bubbles up. It's like, oh yeah, Quintorius lands, and then it kind of bubbles down again, and then it's like, wait, but Quintorius lands.
Yeah, someone has a Quintorius lands list. At least one person, maybe 3.
Huh.
They're there. There's also like the I forgot about the Low Shield, right? Banks was playing Low Shield Landfall for a little bit too, I think. Or was
What did she do?
The one this I forgot about that. This guy.
Oh.
Yeah. I forgot about this as a landfall creature thing,
Okay.
manlands thing.
Artifact
Yeah.
creatures you control.
But yeah, the other one that we're gonna link is a Boros Snow Landfall deck with Aurelia. More
Yeah,
of the
this I
manland
have not
stuff.
seen. This is interesting.
Yeah. This is by Elise. So you should check those out too. There's a lot of like once you add 2 colors and you start combining stuff. Austin and I were talking about an Is It deck. What's the card called?
Omen of Fire or Burning Omen or something like that.
Oh, let's just look up Omen. I can't. Of course.
Of course, there's a billion.
There it is.
Omen of
Yeah,
Fire.
Austin and I were talking about an Is It deck with this card, Omen of Fire, where you turn all lands into islands and return them all to their owner's hands. So you play like Stormtide Leviathan, and then Omen of Fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
Like,
blue and red actually
red
has like a
landfall.
lot of fun ways of changing wording and like land
Yeah.
type mentions,
Yep.
things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So you can do some weird shenanigans with that in blue and red.
No, there's a lot of good options in blue red landfall. And
Blue
then there's-
black also has a really cool one in Narfi.
Oh yeah, Narfi Lands.
I made that on stream a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I'll link that in the description too. But this guy is kind of fun.
Yeah, Narfi Lands is sick. Yeah, because you can like you're like putting 3 snowlands into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you get like Faceless Haven, and you get snow-covered islands and snow-covered swamps. So you get to run like Rain of Filth. You get to run Urborg. Like once you start combining the baseline of the archetypes, you get some really interesting combinations.
Yeah.
There's also the Noyandar. That's one of the ones that I was gonna build way back in the day.
You know what would make the snow deck with Narfi better though? Green.
Get out of here.
That's the end of the episode.
Go home. Oh damn it! Damn it!
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to check out our other stuff. We have a Discord, we have a Twitter, we have other YouTube videos. There'll be links around there. If you thought Steven was funny and or witty and or intelligent and or cool looking and or what have you, you should check out his stuff as well. It'll be also linked in the description. He has a bunch of things to Steven say things.
Personal YouTube that you can find in the comment section below, or the description, whatever you want to call it. I also am one of the co-founders of the Magic Tapping Authority. We're an international play group that also does EDH gameplay. So I'll also link our YouTube channel as well. We also, the Magic Tapping Authority, oh my gosh, world announcement. We just made a Twitter and Instagram account last night.
Well, okay.
Okay, we're getting out there. We're spreading the word.
All right, so you can check all those things out, and also check out the deck list links in the description. There's gonna be like a lot of fucking decks, whatever tickles your fancy.
And you can always
congratulations on making it this far through the episode.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Thanks for coming, Steven, and thank y'all for sticking around. And remember, untap, upkeep, drink.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Always a pleasure.
See ya.